Student athlete. These two words have been used time and time again to describe college athletes all over the nation. The debate about where the student and athlete separate continues on in the world of athletics. Sarah Pope is a senior at ORU and former All-American volleyball player for the university. I asked her about the tutoring and study hall program for athletes on campus.
Well, since I transferred, every single transfer, their first semester, or if you're a freshman, you have to take 8 hours of study hall a week, and that can be at any time. No one is required to take tutoring right offhand, but if you do poorly in classes or if your coaches suggest it, then you may be required to have some tutoring hours.
Senior Dean Wilson is a former baseball player for ORU. I asked him about the importance of study hall.
Yeah, I think so, for new athletes at least, just because I know I came from junior college, which is a much more relaxed environment, and I got here and the practices are way more grueling and the schoolwork's way harder, so I think just as a way to adjust to the new workload, I think study hall is a good thing for new athletes to have.
Even with the required 8 hours a week of studying, athletes are doubling that time spent on the practice field.
We practice more than 8 hours a week, for sure. At least I know there are NCAA regulations where there are only certain parts of the year where we can practice for a long time, but in those times, I mean, we probably practice 3 hours a day. And, whatever the rule was, we stayed right within that. It wasn't necessarily like a minute short. We got as much out of it as we were allowed to. So that made it tough to set aside a few hours every day to get work done, but it's part of what we signed up for, so we find a way to get it done.
While in season, road trips are especially difficult for athletes when they have papers and assignments to finish. Finding time among the preparation can be tough.
Some days are just so full of practice, pre-game, game. Your games could go late, you have to scout, so you really don't have time to do anything. And then there's some days that you have like 3 or 4 hours in a row that you just are in your room, or sometimes your coach might have study hall time, but most of the time you really don't.
With this in mind, honoring the student athletes for their academic achievement throughout the year is a rewarding moment.
I think it's something that athletes do take pride in, because it's very hard to maintain a high GPA and be an athlete.
Reporting for Tulsa Sports News, I'm Jordan Jones.